It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Hello Forest Hill School, I am back with another story. Now if you are in room 17 this year, you already know this story very well, but I think it's a really important story to read because we all live on the North Island of New Zealand, and this story is about how the North Island came to be. It's a Māori story. And I think it's really, really special. And it's got fantastic illustrations, and I think we know a lot about some of Maui's other stories, right? We know how he slowed the sun, but this one I think is pretty cool too, so I really, really hope you enjoy it. If you're in room 17, feel free to watch it again. You guys are experts now. So this is The Fish of Maui by Peter Gossage, and he does heaps of really great stories about Maui. The Fish of Maui. Maui had magical powers and was much better at everything than his 4 foster brothers, Roto, Mua, Pai and Taha. They planned to go fishing the next day, but had not told Maui, as they were jealous and did not want him to come. So there's his brothers, there's Maui sleeping. Early next morning, Maui hid himself in the bottom of his brother's canoe. His brothers laughed as they set off, little knowing that Maui Nukuro, the trickster, was going with them. They paddled out beyond the breakers until they found a good place to fish, but it was not good enough for Maui Atamai, the quick-witted. He sprang from his hiding place in the bottom of the canoe. That would be a bit of a surprise. The brothers, still shocked by Maui's magical appearance, obeyed his orders to paddle on. On and on they paddled. They begged Maui to stop, but he would not. As the sun began to set, the land was already out of sight. All that night Maui paddled by the light of Marama, the moon. One by one his brothers fell asleep. Morning found the brothers grumpy and surly. Maui was at last satisfied with the fishing place, but as utu, revenge, his brothers would give him no bait. So he struck himself on the nose and smeared the magic jawbone hook with his own blood. Around and around his head he whirled the jawbone of his ancestor. Out and up it crept in a widening spiral like a great carving in the air. Oh, sorry, you can't see the picture. Then he flung it free to plummet like Te Kawo, the shag, into the ocean. The line plunged through the depths with the speed of a taiha. The bone struck wood and locked in the arm of the carving. Maui, on the other end of the line, did not know that his hook was snared on a tiko of a whare rooted deep in the back of a giant being. He was not landing a fish, but fishing a land. He tugged, he wrenched, he heaved, he strained with every muscle in his body. At the bottom of the ocean, something began to stir. Above, Maui chanted karakia that passed down the line and into the great fish. They called on it to rise up, to become light and float to the surface. But it knew the sea was its home, and it began to fight. So there's Maui way up there, and there's the whare, and there is the giant fish. Maui braced himself as the sea began to churn and boil. Planting his feet firmly astride the canoe, he started to pull the line. His terrified brothers made no move to help him, and they clung to the bucking craft. So Maui's doing all the hard work. The fish thrashed in fury, but his strength was not as strong as Maui's will. Power coursed through Maui, and the great fish ballooned to the surface. and what a fish it was. His tail stretched away to the north, and its head lay far in the south. "I must get my hook," said Maui. "Do not touch him while I am gone. He is smooth and flat, and I do not want him damaged." But the moment that Maui was out of sight, his brothers began to hack out their share. For, after all, hadn't they helped with the paddling? The great fish writhed in agony as the paddle blades sliced into his flesh. So the brothers think they deserve a piece of the fish. In no time, his once smooth back was a jagged mass of valleys and ranges. The fish of Maui was now a rugged land. You may have visited Te Ika Maui or even be living on his back at this very moment, for he is in North Island of New Zealand. Doesn't it look rather like a battered stingray? So I tell Franco that we kind of live just about there, like at the start of the stingray's tail. Isn't that just the coolest story about how the North Island came to be? I absolutely love it. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do, and I will hopefully read another story soon. Bye!
It must seem crazy what I'm about to say. This book right here makes every